Shango, the Thunder King. The warrior, the god, and the legend. Era, ancient Yoruba Kingdom, Nigeria. The night Shango was born, the sky raged with thunder. Lightning split the heavens, and the earth trembled beneath the mighty Oyo Empire. In the palace, the cries of a newborn boy mixed with the rolling echoes of the storm. The high priests of Shango's temple had gathered, their faces painted in sacred red and white chalk, their eyes wide with awe. "This is no ordinary child," the chief priest declared, his voice trembling. "The gods have sent a ruler, one who carries thunder in his veins." The Queen of Oyo, draped in coral beads and royal fabrics, cradled her child close to her chest. Her eyes, lined with kohl, glistened as she gazed at him. Though his body was small, his presence was mighty. When he opened his eyes, they burned like embers, and with each breath he took, the storm outside seemed to pulse with his heartbeat. The people of Oyo rejoiced. They sang songs in the marketplace and pounded their talking drums late into the night. They knew the gods had smiled upon them, for their kingdom had been given a child of destiny. Shango grew strong and fearless. By the time he was 10, he could wrestle grown men to the ground. By 15, he could lift a warrior's axe with ease. The people whispered stories of him, of how he trained in the forests, battling shadows and spirits, of how the sky darkened when he was angry, of how no warrior could match his skill with the double-edged axes he carried on his back. Under his father's rule, Oyo was a great kingdom, but it was surrounded by jealous rivals. When war came, it was Shango who led the warriors into battle. His presence alone struck fear into the hearts of enemies. His war cry was like the roar of the heavens, and when he raised his axes, thunder rumbled in response. His warriors fought fiercely, for they believed their prince was favored by the gods. Victory after victory, Oyo's power grew. With every conquered land, Shango's legend spread. But power is a double-edged sword. As the years passed, whispers grew within the palace. His brothers, jealous of his strength and the loyalty he commanded, began to conspire against him. There were secret meetings in darkened halls, hushed voices speaking of betrayal. And one fateful night, the whispers turned to action. The rebellion struck like a cobra in the dark. Shango, seated upon his father's throne, did not see the betrayal coming. The palace, once a place of safety, became a battlefield. His most trusted warlords turned against him, their swords drawn, their faces twisted with greed and envy. Outnumbered, wounded, and betrayed, Shango had no choice but to flee. He ran into the forests, his red garments torn, his breath heavy with rage. Behind him, the fires of the palace burned, and the laughter of his enemies echoed in the night. For days he wandered. His body ached, but his spirit burned hotter than ever. His heart pounded like the drums of war. He was a king without a throne, a warrior without an army. He came to the edge of a great waterfall, the sound of crashing water filling his ears. His knees buckled, and for the first time in his life, he felt lost. He threw his head back and called out to the heavens. "Have you abandoned me?" he roared. "I who have fought for my people, I who have honored the gods." The wind howled in response. The sky darkened, and in the mist of the waterfall, figures began to appear, spirits, glowing with an ethereal light. They moved like smoke, their voices deep and ancient. "You are more than a king, Shango," they whispered. "You are thunder itself." Then from the heavens, a bolt of lightning struck his chest. The force sent him reeling, but instead of pain, he felt power, raw, untamed, divine. His body pulsed with energy, his skin burned with golden light. His eyes, once embers, became flames. The gods had awakened his true form. At dawn, the earth trembled beneath his feet as he walked back into Oyo. The sky was black with storm clouds, the air thick with anticipation. His enemies, seated upon his throne, laughed until they heard it. The first clap of thunder, a second louder. Then a bolt of lightning crashed down from the sky, striking the palace courtyard. The traitors leapt to their feet, their faces twisted in terror. And then Shango stepped into the city. He was no longer just a man. He was something greater. His body glowed with divine power, his axes crackled with energy. With every step, the ground shook. His voice thundered through the kingdom. "You thought you could take my throne." His enemies cowered as the sky erupted in fury. Lightning struck down, reducing weapons to ash. The people of Oyo, watching from their doorways, fell to their knees in awe. They had lost their king, but now they had gained a god. One by one, his enemies fell before him. None could stand against the wrath of the Thunder King. That night, Oyo sang of Shango, the warrior who had become a god. To this day, when the sky rumbles and lightning dances across the heavens, the Yoruba people say, "Shango walks among us." Lessons of the story. True leaders are forged in fire. Power is not just about strength, but wisdom and justice. And betrayal cannot destroy destiny.